What's going on, you awesome movie nerds? It is good to be back after that bit of a hiatus, bit of a break that I took through December. It is good to be back. It is a new year. 2020 is behind us. 2021 is ahead of us. 2020 brought with it a lot of change. And as we're talking about movies, like a lot of change within how movies get released, and a lot of movies that were supposed to be coming out in 2020 didn't come out. Looking forward into 2021, it's still unsure of what exactly will happen, what sort of stuff will get released, although we do have definitive dates on some stuff. But I thought it'd be fun to look at the films that are supposed to be being released here in 2021 and share some of my most anticipated stuff with you. So, without any further ado, let's jump right on into it.
And here we go.
The first thing that I want to talk about is, well, let's start with Marvel. So, you may or may not know, but I am a huge Marvel fan. That is what got me into my love for film and my love for collecting. Like, I first started collecting films by collecting all those Marvel cinematic films. Marvel hasn't come out with anything since Spider-Man Far From Home. You know, I've been missing my MCU. They were supposed to have Black Widow and all the Disney Plus shows that were supposed to be released last year, but got delayed. Good news! Because this stuff is coming out, and this is stuff I'm so excited for. We've got WandaVision, which is dropping in January, so this month, like, very, very soon. WandaVision, I love these two characters. The unique styling that they are doing with this looks so cool. I cannot wait. We also have Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which will be coming in March, and that's going to be super cool. It looks very cinematic, and the way that it was shot in the story, like the footage that we have that we can look at, looks so good. Captain America had always been my favorite character within the MCU, and to see his legacy and how they are going to, you know, move on is really exciting. We also have Black Widow that's scheduled for May. She is finally getting her own film, supposed to be released last year, did not because of Corona. And, you know, that's a theme with a lot of this stuff. But Black Widow is scheduled to be released, as well as an Untitled Spider-Man movie that is supposed to be coming out at the end of the year. Lots of Marvel stuff to look forward to. From what I can tell, there is also the Eternals and Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Those are two that, from what I can tell, are still scheduled coming out in July and then in November. I have no idea. I feel like that's going to be overloading on the Marvel if they do come out, but I haven't, from what I could find, I didn't see anywhere where those were changed. But like I said, it's going to be interesting going forward throughout 2021 because it's still, everything is up in the air. I hope that theaters will have started opening back up, especially around here, because I want to go support these theaters, but there's just not a lot open where I am. Anyway, moving on from Marvel and staying in with the Disney theme, because Disney owns everything. Raya and the Last Dragon. I think it's Raya. Anyway, the new Disney animated film is scheduled to be released in March, and this is going to be, from what I understand, on Disney Plus, similar to how they did the Mulan. I'm not sure if they're going to send this to theaters as well. From what I've heard, that this is going to Disney Plus, from what I understand. And this, from the trailers, it looks interesting. I don't know. Something just feels off about it to me, and I can't quite place my finger as to what it is from the trailers. So I think that's something interesting, something to keep an eye on. We've got A Quiet Place 2. I believe that was supposed to be released in 2020, but that is now released in 2021. I love A Quiet Place, and I'm interested to see where they take it. We also have Godzilla vs. Kong. That is going to be released in May. And what is interesting here is it is a Warner Brothers title, or Warner Brothers and Legendary. And it's something, and I want to have a further discussion on with Warner Brothers and their deal with HBO Max and all that. I do find it interesting that it is going to HBO Max, because it means that it will for sure be released. We will have Godzilla vs. Kong. But what's interesting is how this might change the exhibition market of film and, you know, what it means. This is financially viable for Warner Brothers, what it means for the future of film and of theaters. I think it's an interesting discussion, one that we won't be having here. But Godzilla vs. Kong, I mean, these are two, you know, giants of the cinema, and they're coming together, they're fighting, which I think is super cool. It's something I definitely wanted to note. I mean, I'm interested, but it's not something I'll probably just be jumping out there, but I think it's interesting. Black Widow is coming out in May, and then In the Heights, Lin-Manuel Miranda's he's the guy that did Hamilton, which was huge on Disney Plus this past year, and In the Heights was a play that he had written, a musical that he had written, I believe, before Hamilton, and from the music that I've heard, it has a lot of the similar vibe. I mean, it is Lin-Manuel Miranda's. It's really good, but you kind of know what you're getting when you get him. The trailer looks really good. It's a Warner Brothers title. This is definitely one I would have gone to theaters to see. If theaters are open in June, I might. But yeah. Next up here, The Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It. This is also going to be released in June. The Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It. This, I find an interesting note. Again, this was supposed to come out in 2020. Not positive on that, but I believe it was. What I find so interesting about The Conjuring is James Wan is the guy who, I mean, he directed the first and second Conjuring film. He is a horror film legend in terms of directing. He's done Saw and a bunch of other really, really cool stuff. But he is not directing this. This is going to... Shh, quiet, I'm making a video. They're bringing in a relatively newcomer. I trust James Wan. I don't know if I can... I trust this new guy handling the franchise. Not that I think he'll do a bad job, but when it's a film dealing with the source material that this is, I think that it can so easily be handled in an inappropriate manner. And it's one that I definitely want to be checking out, but cautiously. I'm cautiously optimistic. Ghostbusters Afterlife, that comes out in June. It's a sequel. It's definitely part of the Ghostbusters franchise and the world that was. Because the 2016 Ghostbusters was kind of not sure what it wanted to be. This is at least making a clear stance of we're not rebooting the franchise, but this is a part of and a continuation of the franchise. And I love Paul Rudd. I think he's going to be great in this, and am excited to check out Ghostbusters Afterlife. We also have Space Jam. I'm not a huge fan of Space Jam. I didn't grow up in it or anything, but you know, it's a big nostalgia grab for a lot of people, so I think that's going to probably do pretty well. That is also a Warner Brothers title, so that will be coming to HBO Max. Top Gun Maverick. Tom Cruise has been wanting to do this Top Gun film, a sequel to it, for forever, and it finally happened, and then, you know, it got delayed a year. But it's coming out in July, so that should be a really fun, you know, 4th of July film to be checking out. That is just a great release date. We've got Disney's Jungle Cruise that is going to be coming out. That one, that looks not so good from the trailers. Like, I love Dwayne Johnson, I love Emily Blunt. I think they could work really well together, but I don't know. The trailer seems a little bit too formulaic and just not very funny. But it's a film that's been in the works for a while, and people have been begging to see a Jungle Cruise movie, which I find odd. Why are we begging to see these, you know, Disney rides become films? I don't know. I find it an odd trend to take these Disneyland attractions and rides and turn them into movies. We've also got Suicide Squad. I hate the first Suicide Squad, but it's not going to be really a sequel, but more of a soft reboot, soft sequel sort of thing. And James Gunn coming on board to take the reins, I think, is a really good and interesting choice. When Suicide Squad first came out, it was kind of marketed or talked about as the Guardians of the Galaxy of the DC EU. And I don't know. I hope that he doesn't copy Guardians too much, but I think James Gunn is definitely a brilliant and very interesting director. I'm interested to check this out. I don't know. Like I said, I hated the first one, but this has promise. We've got, here's the big one, Dune. October 2021. I am so excited to see Dune, guys. Like, so excited. This is from the director of Arrival. I think he did Prisoners, but he did Blade Runner 2049. Would try to pronounce his name, but I know I would butcher it terribly. I need to learn. I need to learn how to pronounce that name. From the director of Blade Runner 2049, which is a spectacular marvel. One of the most cinematic films that have come out in recent years. I love that movie. And Dune is a film that is clearly begging to be shown on the big screen, but it's Warner Brothers, which means it's going to HBO Max. It's going to be released in theaters as well, but alongside it with HBO Max. This is not a film that is supposed to be watched while streaming. This is a film that's supposed to be an experience. It's a film that's supposed to go to the theaters to see. I know this director, because when Warner Brothers did this deal and announced everything, they basically did it all underneath the table and were like they didn't let people know, which I think was a huge, huge misstep on their parts. This guy was very, very upset that his film is going to be going to a streaming service. Who knows what's going to happen in 2021? You know, if 2020 has taught us anything, you do not know what the future holds. Things can change so fast and so rapidly. But I would venture, I guess, that Dune will be, or theaters will be up and running, and I hope people go to the theaters rather than staying home and watching HBO Max. I'm super excited for Dune. Here is the one to end on Clifford, the Big Red Dog, coming out in November of 2021. Clifford, the Big Red Dog. I used to watch this when I was a kid. It was on PBS. It's going to be uncomfortable to have these real dogs with these crazy red colors. And red and yellows and, you know, these bright purples and stuff, because that was a stylistic choice that you could do in animation, but it doesn't carry over to live action. It just seems just an odd choice all the way around to be doing a Clifford film and to be doing it live action and then to have him as a puppy. It's weird, man. But it's definitely something that I'm going to be keeping an eye on because, like I said, it's weird. These are the films that I thought were interesting to note, that I'm kind of curious to see how they do and what they do. Yeah. We've got a lot of cool stuff that's lined up in 2021. Hopefully everything is able to be released. It's going to be interesting going through 2021, seeing how the film exhibition market changes. It's not going to be the same. It's never going to go back to what it was in 2019 because things were already changing then, and it's just going to be interesting to see how this, you know, changes more rapidly. It's definitely something I want to get into in some later videos about that topic, but that's all I think for today. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. Let me know down in the comments, what are your most anticipated movies of 2021? I'd love to hear from you. If you would give this video a thumbs up, it super helps me out as a small creator. Consider subscribing, ringing the notification bell, doing all that jazz. And as always, I love you awesome nerds. We're out.